everyone. Miss Jardine here. All right, so this is day 2 of area of parallelograms. So going back to what we learned last week, remember our formula. So we always need 3 lines. We've got area equals, area equals, area equals. So we've got 3 lines for every parallelogram problem. On the first line is always our formula, base times height. Remember we talked about how a rectangle is base times height, and we talked about how a parallelogram is equal to the area of a parallelogram. So we're still going to use base times height. So taking a look at the first one that we have, remember we always want to highlight the base. So the base is at the bottom. Now the height on this one is going to be this dashed line out to the side. If we run that line over, remember the base and the height are always perpendicular to each other. Perpendicular means they're going to form a T. So we said in class on Thursday and Friday that you will never, ever, never, never, never use the slant height. So the area of a parallelogram is always that flat base and the height that's perpendicular. So if we look at the numbers that we have over here, I see 30 feet up here for the base and 50 feet for the height. So those are the numbers. So here comes substitution. Substitution is when our variable becomes a number. So the base equals 30. The height equals 50. So this one can be mental math because we know that 3 times 5 is 15. And then we need 2 extra zeros. Our unit of measure is feet. And of course, we talked last week about why we call that squared. Area equals 1,500 feet squared. All righty. Second example. When we're doing area of a parallelogram, we always need 1 line, 2 lines, area equals, and 3 lines, area equals. Now remember, we talked about also how you don't have to have a diagram to look at. Sometimes you'll just be given the values right over here, and that's fine. So we're always going to start with area equals base times height. Now I'm going to substitute 5 2/10 for my base. I'm going to use parentheses this time to multiply, times 3 3/10. I've got lots of space over here. I can show my work. 5 2/10 times 3 3/10. So 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 5 is 15. 0 placeholder. 3 times 2 is 6. And 3 times 5 is 15. All right, now we've got to figure out where that decimal is going to go. I had a 2 behind the decimal and a 3 behind the decimal. That's 2 digits. So we're going to put 2 digits behind that decimal in our answer. So area equals 17 1600 inches squared. Now we're going to start working on a new skill today. Find the area of the shaded region. Find the area of the shaded region. Well, notice how nothing is shaded. That's because it didn't come out on the copy. So we're going to pretend like all of this is shaded. Find the area of the shaded region. Notice what is not shaded. Just covered up that, number. So the area that is not shaded, it's kind of like a little door. So that little yellow rectangle in the middle of the parallelogram. So it's as if I had a piece of paper, but I cut out a rectangle in the middle of the piece of paper. So how much paper would be left after I cut out the rectangle? So we're going to start with what we know. I know to find the area of a parallelogram, it's base times height. And I can see down here at the bottom, it says my base is 7 feet and my height is 5 feet. So I'm going to substitute. Base is 7 feet. Height is 5 feet. 7 times 5 is 35, and this is feet squared. Okay, so that would be the entire parallelogram. But what is the area of that little rectangle that cut out? Remember, we talked last week about how the area of a rectangle and a parallelogram is both base times height. So now the base of that yellow rectangle is 1 foot. The height of that rectangle is 3 feet. 1 times 3 is 3 feet squared. Okay, so I've got 35 feet squared for the entire parallelogram, and I have an area cut out that's 3 feet squared. So all we have to do is take 35 minus 3. So the area of the shaded region would be 32 feet squared. So that's always going to be a subtraction problem. Find the area of the shaded region will always be subtraction. Oh my goodness, what's going on here? You make a photo prop for a school fair. You cut a 10-inch square out of a parallelogram shaped piece of wood. What is the area of the photo prop? Always highlight your question. What are we finding? What is the area of the photo prop? Okay, well, the photo prop is everything that I'm highlighting in yellow, but we cut out this little space right here, okay? So step number 1 says, convert the dimensions of the piece of wood to inches. So notice over here on the side, my little piece that was cut out is in inches, but the base and height of the parallelogram were given in feet. Well, none of this is going to make any sense unless we're having the same unit of measure for both dimensions. Convert the dimensions of the piece of wood to inches. Well, the piece of wood is everything that I outline in yellow. That's your photo prop. Okay, 2 inches. Let's see. So 8 feet equals how many inches? And 4 feet equals how many inches? Well, what I'm thinking in my head is that 1 foot equals 12 inches. So if 1 foot equals 12 inches, I'm going to multiply 8 times 12, that's 96. And 1 foot equals 12 inches, so 4 feet, 4 times 12 equals 48. Okay, so what I'm going to do over here, I'm going back over to the prop. Where it says 8 feet, below that, I'm going to write 96 inches. And for the base, where it says 4 feet, above that, I'm going to write 48 inches. So I know that those two values are equal to each other. Okay, so now it says find the area of wood. So I'm looking right here, area of the wood. Well, the area of the wood, we are always going to have 1, 2, 3 lines to solve. So the area of the wood is base times height. The base is 48 and the height is 96. So I'm going to scroll down here to where I've got some space. 48 times 96. So 6 times 8 is 48. 6 times 4 is 24, plus 4 is 28, 0 placeholder. 9 times 8 is 72. 9 times 4 is 36. 36 plus 7 is 43. So I've got 8, 0, 6, okay, 4,608. 4,608 inches. Remember, we converted to inches. That is the area of the entire piece of wood. Now it says find the area of the square. Let's go see what the square was. Okay, so if I look up here, I've got this little square. If it's a square, we know all sides are equal, right? So if one side is 10 inches, all sides are 10 inches. So I need 1, 2, 3 lines. The area of a square is base times height. The base is 10, the height is 10, and 10 times 10 is 100 inches squared. Okay, oh my goodness, let's go see what we're doing again. You make a photo prop for a school fair. You cut a 10-inch square out of a parallelogram-shaped piece of wood. What is the area of the photo prop? Oh, yes. I'm trying to find the area of the piece of wood minus, what'd she just say? Minus the square. So if the entire piece of wood is 4,608, and that little square that I just cut out was 100 inches squared, how much would be left? 4,508 inches squared. That would be your final answer. Alrighty, make sure and email me if you need help or have questions. Have a